Good morning. Welcome to the next installment in Cloudville's Telecom 360 use case walkthroughs. Today we're going to talk about multi-location ordering, and that's a key requirement and a key use case in the B2B world, where we're dealing with end clients that have dozens or hundreds or thousands of end locations. You think about McDonald's or Starbucks, and you need to connect those locations to the headquarters, and it provides a challenge for most ordering systems in terms of being able to handle the complexity of services that connect to service addresses. Okay, so we're going to be ordering multi-location service to connect the company's headquarters and their branches, and that's going to highlight our support for multi-location clients, multi-location orders, ordering services that connect end locations, in other words having a single service with multiple endpoints, varying the configurations by those locations, and we're going to review some of the key B2B ordering attributes like purchase order number, account selection, payment terms, the due date, sales channel, sales team, etc. Let's begin. Okay, let's begin the use case. I'm going to log in here. I've just gotten off the call with a customer, Paper Products Incorporated, who's the top one on this list here. And he's asked us to provide connectivity between his headquarters and his branch locations. So let's take a look at the client. Go to the Locations tab, and we can see that he's got 3 branch locations and a head office. Each of these locations has, as you would imagine, information associated with it. It's got a name. In this case, we're using silly codes to name these, or to codify the branch locations. It's got a type, and if it's a warehouse, it's got a subtype, etc. You can tag them, define working hours, time zones, all of that type of stuff, but we've kept this relatively simple. Let's go and take a look at what orders he's got in progress. He's got 2 completed orders, so there's no order we can modify to get the service going, so let's just create a new order. We're going to pick an address as the main address, and that'll be our headquarters. We can provide a PO number that he supplied us, and maybe his requested service date. I'll just pick today to make sure everything flows quickly. And we're going to create this order. You also see other information. We can define the source as the call center, portal sales, sales team, etc. That's all used for analytical purposes. So let's just create this order. And now we're brought into the basket, and we're going to go in and add the services to the basket. So the first thing we're going to do, this is a Metro Ethernet service, so we're going to go in and define the individual locations in this service. So we're going to add a network interface, or a UNI. We're going to customize that. Let's give it an identifier of 1 for that location, and we'll leave the default speed and physical mediums, but let's provide some information about the EVs, or the bandwidth required. And I'll leave the MTU size and attributes around how many EVCs can connect to this as a default. We'll add it to the cart, and now we've defined, if we take a look at the cart, we've got at our main location a network interface, or a UNI. So now let's copy this across to speed things up. We're going to copy to a different address, and let's do it to the Buffalo branch, and you'll see we've got now 2 UNIs defined with exactly the same configuration. I can go in and change this configuration, and let's say in this case he only needs 64 CIR and 128 bursting, and then we'll update that, and we can take a look, and you see we've got the revised configuration. Now I'm going to go ahead and copy this across to the other branches. Before I do that, you'll notice that we can add a new location on the fly in the order, but let's just keep things simple, and we'll just select an existing one, and then again we'll copy that one to the 3rd address. So 245, what are we missing? We're missing Calgary. So let's copy it across to Calgary. And there we go. So we've got our 3 branches set up together with our main location. And we've got the network interfaces set up, or the unis. So now let's take a look and define the service itself. So we're going to go to the main location. Let's add some more items. Again, Metro Ethernet in this case. And we're going to define a service. And in this case, he's described to us something that's going to require an E-tree service. So we'll select E-tree. We've got 2 general services, the basic one and high availability. So let's do the high availability, customize that. We've got a series of contract term options. So in this case, 24, 36, or 12 months at the various prices. And we've defaulted it to the mid-range product, the 24-month commitment. And I'm being asked to provide a service ID. And we'll just make one up here, PPI 001. So now we're going to add this to the cart. And then if we go back and take a look at the cart, you'll see that we've got the service now added. We're going to add another one. In this case, we're going to add the routed multi-point EVC, which is required for the E-tree service. And then we're going to customize that. We've got default setup in this case for everything. Let's provide the EVC ID. Again, we'll just call it 1. And then the service ID, because we're setting up an EVC, we've got to specify what service it's running on, and it's the PPI 001 that we just put on, and it's the E-tree service. Now, we've got 4 unis on the customer's network, so we've got to identify which one's going to be the root. And in this case, it will be the headquarters here. And then we've got all of the unis, and we need to identify which ones are the member ones. So I'll just go Buffalo, Calgary, and the Toronto branch. And you can see now that we can add it to the cart, 24-month commitment. Add that, and now we can go and take a look at the cart, and we see the order. We have all of the locations defined, the configuration of each of the unis, the service itself, and the routed multi-point EVC. We can go in and change these. We can override the pricing, for example. Let's say we're willing to give it to them for $275 instead. We can add notes on individual services to help in the fulfillment. So if there's something special about it, we can change the name of the service so that if we've dealt with a client and we've called it something else, or it's got multiple names in the industry and we want the invoice to reflect the name that he knows it by, we can do that. We can add manual charges like installation charges, etc. We can change the start dates, all of that type of stuff. But now we've got our basic E-tree service all set up, a multi-location with services across. And so now let's check this out. We're asked to select the account. In this case, we'll use the default account. The terms, again, the terms, we've only got one term set up, but if there were multiple terms for this client or multiple terms available in the system, you would select the terms that you want. We can add a special note related to this service to go on the invoice. And we're just going to go and say that it's billed via invoice. We're going to continue that, place the order. We're presented with a summary across all of the locations. We'll place the order. And now we've got an order in processing. As you can imagine, the order has been broken down into subscriptions. And we're going through and provisioning the subscriptions for the E-tree service, the routed multipoint EVC, and each of the unis. If we take a look at one of these, we can go in and take a look at the provisioning status. And right now it's it's automatically initiated a provisioning call via the element management system. And it's going to do that for each element of the service that we've provisioned. If there's any manual provisioning that's required, technician installs will orchestrate all of that, again, at the individual line item level or the decomposed order level. Okay, now we've spun ahead about a minute and all of the activities have been completed. You'll see that the services, the routing multipoint ABC, the unis, and the eTree service are all marked as active within the subscriptions. If we take a look inside, you'll see that we did the provisioning via the EMS, then we updated the status in the network inventory, and then in the assurance systems. Ultimately, the service went active. So now we can go back into the order mark the processing as complete, and you'll see now so we've got all of the service locations, and you'll see down at the bottom we have an invoice number now. So as soon as the service was turned active, we confirmed it was good, we generated an invoice. Okay, so that concludes our use case. Thank you very much. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to contact us at sales@cloudville.com or visit our website at www.cloudville.com. Have a good day.